Well, after a 2-0 shutout by the Phillies against their rival Atlanta Braves on Tuesday night at Citizens Bank Park to kick off a 3-game series, Wednesday night game got postponed due to the rain in the Philadelphia area yesterday. So the Phillies will make that up as a day-night doubleheader today, Thursday, against the Braves to close out this 3-game series. So there's really not much to talk about, so I'm just going to end the video here. I'm just messing with you guys. Of course, I'm going to keep this going. There's always things to talk about. This is Phillies Daily. I'm Mike Henley. Make sure you guys subscribe for more Phillies content. So obviously, like I said, the Phillies did not have a game yesterday because of rain. They will have a doubleheader today, so there's a lot to look forward to, a lot to look out for. Hopefully, they build off that big shutout win to kick off that series on Tuesday night. But since there was no game yesterday, we can take today to talk a little bit about just, different things to look out for as we progress through this season, as we get to the offseason, as we move forward with this Phillies team. Obviously, there's a lot of decisions coming up with people, players, veteran players, contracts expiring, just different guys coming up from the minors who are playing well down there. So there's a lot to look forward to in the future, and some is more imminent than others. So obviously, the Phillies, one of their weaknesses so far in 2025 has been the outfield. I mean, it's not detrimental to the team, but it's definitely not a strength of the team. Obviously, the top outfielder is Nick Castellanos, but he is 33 years old. He has one more year on his contract that he signed a few years back. He was an all-star the 1 year. He has all-star potential. He's pretty good at the plate this year. He's obviously been a really good fielder, surprisingly, honestly, because he's known for his hitting throughout his career. But he is a streaky hitter. We've known that throughout his Phillies career. Like I said, he is doing pretty well this year, but very streaky hitter. And then Max Kepler, he was a veteran offseason acquisition. They signed to a 1-year deal from the Minnesota Twins. He's also in his early 30s. He's 32. Like I said, he's only on a 1-year deal, so he may not stick around after this 2025 season. He's surprisingly also been a very good fielder out there and left for the Phillies. He's played a lot of right in his career, so it was a bit of a change and a bit of adjustment for Max Kepler, but he is very impressive out there. Honestly, he is a very inconsistent hitter. He does have potential there. He does have power. He can hit home runs. He can hit doubles, but he's just very consistent. He'll have some good games. He'll go on a cold streak. Just, you'd like to see more consistent production out of Max Kepler, and it's just not there for him. His overall offensive numbers so far in 2025 aren't great. His average is pretty low, but like I said, he does hit a home run here and there. He does hit a double here and there. He can drive in some runs. He's a good platoon guy. He's not really the everyday guy that they were hoping he could have been for them, but we'll see. It's still a long season. Hopefully he can turn into that and pick it up as the weather gets warmer, as the season progresses, because that will be a huge boost to the offense if he can be more of a consistent hitter to go with his above-average fielding. And then, obviously, Johan Rojas, he's one of the younger guys here. He's had a shaky start to his Phillies career. Honestly, he was called up pretty early. He came from Double-A a few years back just because the Phillies needed outfield help. He's got elite speed, elite defense. That's what he's known for. Hasn't really put everything together at the plate, but so far in 2025, his numbers kind of don't reflect it, but he has shown a lot of signs of improvement in 2025. He started off pretty well at the plate, kind of slowed down a bit, but just showing signs of improvement, which is great to see. He's only 24 years old, so he's got a long future ahead of him if he can keep developing, keep improving at the plate, because like I said, he does have very elite speed, and he's a very good fielder. So if he could put all that together, he could be a very well-rounded player, center fielder for the Phillies for the future. Like I said, just 24 years old. He's already in his third season with the Phillies. Like I said, he did probably come up a little earlier than he should have, but it's just how it went. And as long as he keeps developing, then maybe he can turn into something special for the Phillies for the long term. So he's a piece to keep around and hope he can keep developing, like I said. And then there's Brandon Marsh. The Phillies acquired Brandon Marsh in a 2022 trade from the Los Angeles Angels. They were desperate for outfield help at the time. They got rid of one of their top catching prospects, Logan O'Hoppe, who's doing really well for the Angels, honestly, since he's been playing for them. Brandon Marsh really hasn't developed into what the Phillies hoped he could have been, and it's kind of unfortunate because he did have the potential. He's still just 27 years old. He still has 2 more years left of team control, so he won't be a free agent until 2028. But like I said, he hasn't lived up to his potential. He started his Phillies career pretty good for that little bit of 2022, and then 2023 he was pretty good, but then last year, very streaky, very inconsistent, just turned into like a platoon player more than they were hoping for. They were hoping he could be an everyday guy out there. It just wasn't the case. And then it's much of the same so far in 2025. Just very, very down season for him. Very streaky, very inconsistent hitter. Had some struggles in the field as well. He was hurt for a little bit there this year so far. Just not, like I said, not what they thought they were getting from Brandon Marsh. He does still have time to develop, but could he be a possible trade piece? I did write about this for my That Ball's Outta Here site on Fansided that I write for. Look out for that when it comes out. It should be coming out any day, if not today. But, he hasn't lived up to potential. The Phillies have other pieces in Johan Rojas. Obviously, Nick Castellanos for one more year could always sign another veteran guy or somebody that hits the open market. Could always trade for somebody. They have some guys down in the minors who could come up and gain more opportunities and play well, such as Justin Crawford, their number 3 prospect down there in AAA. He's just 21 years old. He was their 2022 first-round pick, and he has done nothing but hit at every single level in the minors so far throughout his minor league career. He's a .318 career hitter in the minor leagues in 257 career games. So far in 2025, in his first full season in AAA with the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, Justin Crawford is hitting .328 with 15 extra base hits and 18 RBIs in his first 44 games at AAA in 2025. He also has 16 stolen bases. So not only is he getting things done at the plate, he's getting things done on the base pass. He's a solid fielder out there in the outfield. He's starting with the Phillies' questions in the outfield. It's starting to become an actual possibility that he could come up as soon as some point this year in 2025. He did pretty well in his limited opportunities in spring training with the Phillies. Like I said, he just hits everywhere he goes, and the Phillies obviously have not a glaring weakness, but a weakness in the outfield, and he could come up and try to prove himself earlier than a lot of people probably expected, especially with guys like Brandon Marsh struggling, Johan Rojas being inconsistent, Max Kepler not being able to grasp a full-time, everyday outfield spot. So that's the outfield situation. Those are the notable guys right now. We'll see what happens. Just something to keep in mind, something to look out for, something to watch throughout the rest of the season and into the offseason. And we'll see how that goes. And speaking of trade chips, like I said about Brandon Marsh, another trade piece that might be a little out there, but Ranger Suarez, he has been very good. He's a fan favorite in Philadelphia. He had some struggles late last year, second half of last year, into the playoffs and all that. Not really the playoffs, but just fell off the face of the earth really last year. But he had some injury history. He's 29 years old. He's in a contract year this year. The Phillies have a decision to make with him. Like I said, he struggled a lot in 2024 after a great start. Got injured. Started on the IL this year. But he's been great so far through his first 5 starts in 2025. He's 4-0 with a 2.97 ERA, and he's allowed just 3 earned runs in his last 26 and 2/3 innings. The Phillies obviously have an elite starting rotation between Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Christopher Sanchez, who are all signed to long-term contracts right now. Ranger Suarez is in there. Jesus Luzardo, their offseason trade acquisition from the Miami Marlins. He has 1 more year of team control, and then he's going to need a contract extension. So you really just can't keep all these guys together. Somebody's going to be gone, and it could be Ranger Suarez, whether he walks in free agency after this season or if the Phillies decide to try to trade him. Now, they also have young starting pitching depth between Andrew Painter, the top prospect, and Mick Abel. We obviously saw what Mick Abel could do against the Pirates in his major league debut against Paul Skeens. Andrew Painter has all the talent in the world to be an ace in this league. But, like I said, do you trade Ranger Suarez to get something before he walks in free agency potentially? Because other teams can offer him a lot more than probably what the Phillies would like to offer or can offer him. Or do you keep him for a World Series push this year in 2025? You probably at this point keep him for 2025 just because might as well go for a championship, might as well win it all. And at the end of the day, that's really what matters. I thought they should have traded him during the offseason, but at this point, keep Ranger Suarez. But it's also something just to keep an eye on and something to think about. And speaking of Mick Abel, he had his first start in AAA back since he went back after his major league debut, since the Phillies sent him back down. He started, obviously it was incredible against Paul Skeens and the Pittsburgh Pirates. He went 6 innings, allowed he went 6 innings, allowed 5 hits, 0 walks, 0 runs, and had 9 strikeouts, plus the win in his major league debut against Paul Skeens and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then his first start the other night back in AAA, much of the same. He went 6 innings, allowed 3 hits. He did have 4 walks, which is a little high. You don't like to see that, but he allowed just 1 run, and he had 8 strikeouts, plus a win. It's a huge bounce back from his struggles in 2024 when he went 3-12 with a 6.46 ERA in 24 starts with the Iron Pigs in AAA. He also had a short stint on the development list there because he was just really struggling. But so far in 2025 in AAA, he's 6-2 now with a 2.41 ERA, which is, like I said, a huge bounce back. And that's what you like to see out of a top pitching prospect like him. Hopefully he can keep doing that, and he has a role with the Phillies starting soon. And now, obviously, the Phillies do have a doubleheader today. Obviously, the big news that came out of that first game against the series against the Braves was that Bryce Harper got drilled by a 95-mile-per-hour fastball by the Braves starter, Spencer Strider. He left the game in the first inning. He was in a lot of pain, went right to a knee, exited the game, right to the clubhouse. His x-rays were fortunately negative. It was his surgically repaired right elbow that he had done a few years back. So, Phillies fans were holding their breath, including me. You don't like to see that from your superstar player, from the face of your franchise, the face of your team, one of the faces of Major League Baseball. Spencer Strider has a shaky history here with Phillies fans and in Philadelphia. So obviously that just intensified any kind of rivalry with him, any kind of hatred towards him. And the big question is, are the Phillies going to retaliate? They didn't have that game yesterday because it got rained out, so they couldn't. But today they have 2 chances, 2 games to potentially retaliate against the Braves in some sort of fashion. Do they hit one of their superstars, Ronald Acuna, Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, any of those guys, Marcell Ozuna, whoever it may be? Do they retaliate, hit one of them? Who knows? Probably, honestly, in my mind, I think you do, just because how significant Bryce Harper is to your team and where he was hit and the possibility that he could miss some time. Like I said, x-rays were negative, but he was in a whole lot of pain. We'll see what happens there. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Phillies Daily. Again, I'm Mike Hennelly, your host. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe for more Phillies content. And go Phils.